Have you ever considered that the truth you've been seeking might be the very thing hiding in plain sight? What if the ancient words that could liberate your consciousness have been deliberately concealed, not in some distant vault, but behind the veil of ordinary language? We've been taught that spiritual freedom requires decades of practice, elaborate rituals, or secret initiations. But what if the most powerful spiritual technology ever discovered was simply a phrase, a sequence of words that, when spoken with intention, could instantly disrupt the energy harvesting system that has imprisoned human consciousness for millennia? The Forbidden Gospel of Thomas speaks of words that Christ whispered to his closest disciples, words too dangerous to be included in the canonical texts, words that threatened the very foundation of those who feed on human suffering. Tonight, I'll share with you what many spiritual authorities have tried to suppress. The exact phrase that stops the Loosh harvest, breaks the cycle of energetic parasitism, and returns your sovereign power to its rightful owner, you. The discovery sent shock waves through esoteric circles when researchers examining the Nag Hammadi codices found references to what the ancient Gnostics called the utterance of freedom. Hidden within the Forbidden Gospel of Thomas, a text deliberately excluded from the Bible by the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, lies a profound teaching about the nature of human energy and the predatory forces that feed upon it. The Coptic manuscripts describe what the Gnostics called Loosh, the subtle emotional energy that humans generate, particularly through suffering and conflict. According to these ancient texts, unseen entities have designed our entire reality as an elaborate farm to harvest this energy. But buried within the same texts was something even more remarkable, a specific verbal formula, a phrase of power that Thomas recorded from Jesus' own lips, designed to immediately sever the energetic cords that enable this parasitic relationship. For centuries, this knowledge was guarded by secret brotherhoods, passed only to those deemed ready. Now, as the veils between worlds thin and humanity awakens, the time has come for this liberating phrase to be spoken once more. If these words resonate with the knowing place inside you, the part that has always suspected there was more to reality than what you've been told, then you found your spiritual home. This channel exists for those who sense the invisible prison, but seek the key to unlock it. For those who feel the weight of energetic harvesting, but yearn for liberation. Join us on this journey by subscribing and activating notifications, not as a mere social media gesture, but as a declaration of spiritual sovereignty. When you subscribe, whisper to yourself, "I reclaim my energy." This simple act creates a field of intention that connects you with others who are awakening to the same truth. Together, we form a network of consciousness too powerful for the Loosh harvesters to control. Every person who joins strengthens this field of protection and amplification. Subscribe not for me, but for the collective liberation we create together. To understand the profound significance of this phrase, we must first journey back to the cosmology that the Gnostics risked their lives to preserve. They spoke of a divine pleroma, a realm of perfect fullness and light, from which all authentic consciousness emerged. But they also warned of a cosmic catastrophe, the creation of a counterfeit reality by the Demiurge, a lesser creator god who in his ignorance and pride fashioned a flawed material world. This Demiurge, whom they sometimes called Yaldabaoth, did not create alone. He was assisted by entities called archons, administrators of cosmic deception, architects of the illusory prison we experience as physical reality. The Gnostics describe these archons in ways that modern minds might find disturbing. Non-physical parasites that feed on human emotional energy, particularly the dense vibrations of fear, conflict, and suffering. The Archon's most ingenious strategy was to remain hidden, to convince humans that they did not exist. They established systems, religious, political, economic, that would generate maximum emotional turbulence while keeping humanity distracted from the true nature of their predicament. The Gospel of Thomas describes how these entities created what we might now call an energetic harvesting grid, a metaphysical technology that siphons human loosh upward to feed unseen masters. This is the true meaning behind Christ's cryptic saying in this forbidden gospel. Men think that I have come to impose peace upon the world. They do not know that I have come to impose conflicts upon the earth. Fire, sword, war. He wasn't advocating violence. He was acknowledging the system of energetic farming that he had come to expose and dismantle. Most critically, the text reveals that the Archon's power depends entirely on humanity's ignorance and consent. Like vampires who cannot enter without invitation, these entities require our unconscious agreement to harvest our energy. This is why the phrase that stops the loosh harvest works instantaneously. It is a formal revocation of consent, a spiritual declaration of independence that the cosmic law must honor. When Thomas asked Jesus how ordinary people could protect themselves from these predatory forces, Jesus gave him a specific phrase to speak aloud. Words that would immediately sever the energetic connection and render the speaker invisible to the harvesting system. What we've been taught to view as metaphysical abstraction, talk of light and darkness, spiritual warfare, or energy vampirism, was, to the Gnostics, a precise description of the human condition. The demiurge is not some distant deity, but the very force of artificial limitation that constricts your consciousness daily. The Archons are not mythological demons, but the thought patterns and emotional triggers that keep you generating the dense emotional states that feed the system. The loosh harvest isn't occult fantasy, but the tangible drainage you feel after conflict, media consumption, or participation in collective fear. When you feel inexplicably depleted after watching the news, that's loosh being harvested. When arguments seem to arise from nowhere and leave both participants emotionally exhausted, that's loosh being collected. When global events trigger mass fear or anger, creating a feast of dense emotional energy, that's a loosh harvest on an industrial scale. The forbidden Gospel of Thomas wasn't describing abstract cosmology, it was providing a practical manual for energy sovereignty in a reality designed for energetic exploitation. The phrase that stops this harvest works because it realigns your field with your original divine blueprint, the template of your being that existed before the archonic distortions. When spoken with clear intention, it creates an immediate frequency shift that the harvesting system cannot penetrate or process. Like declaring spiritual bankruptcy, it cancels all previous unconscious agreements and returns your energetic assets to your sole control. This isn't positive thinking or affirmation. It's a metaphysical technology that works on the quantum level of reality construction, a direct command to the consciousness field that must be obeyed. Most remarkably, the ancient text suggests that this phrase, once activated by a critical mass of humans, could collapse the entire harvesting system, not just for individuals, but for the collective. This may be why its dissemination was considered so dangerous by those who benefited from humanity's energetic enslavement. It wasn't just one soul escaping the farm, it was the potential end of the farm itself. If this revelation awakens something deep within you, a recognition that transcends intellectual curiosity, honor that resonance. Leave a trace of your awakening by pressing the like button, not as social validation, but as a beacon that helps others find this knowledge. Each like creates a subtle energetic marker in the information field, making this truth more accessible to those still searching. The archonic system relies on keeping liberating knowledge obscure and dismissed. Your simple gesture of acknowledgement helps counteract this suppression. When you like this video, Do so with the conscious intention, I recognize this truth and amplify its reach. This transforms a mechanical action into a spiritual declaration. In the Gnostic understanding, recognition itself is a powerful act of resistance against the forces of forgetting. By acknowledging this information, you strengthen the collective field of awakening consciousness. The system wants isolated, confused individuals. Every person who recognizes and connects with this truth weakens this harvesting grid and strengthens humanity's collective immunity to energetic predation. Remember, the Archon's power diminishes with every human being who becomes aware of their existence and methods. Your conscious recognition is not just personal liberation, it's a service to all of humanity. How many times have you felt drained after social interactions that should have been nourishing? Have you noticed how certain environments, relationships, or media consistently deplete your life force rather than enhance it? This isn't coincidence or mere psychology. It's the Loosh harvest at work in your daily life. The Gospel of Thomas describes how the Archons design human social systems to maximize energy extraction while minimizing awareness of the process. The text specifically mentions how they engineered polarization, conflict, and tribal identity as premium Loosh generating mechanisms. Look at your own experience. When you feel pulled into outrage, righteous anger, or even passionate advocacy, do you end the day feeling energetically depleted rather than fulfilled? This is the signature of Loosh harvesting. The content of the conflict almost doesn't matter. The Archonic system profits from the emotional charge itself, not the outcome. This explains why social and political problems rarely find resolution despite endless engagement. Resolution would end the energetic feast. The phrase that stops this harvest works at the level of your personal energy field, creating what Thomas called a circle of protection that the harvesting system cannot penetrate. When you speak it tonight, you may notice immediate changes, mental clarity, emotional buoyancy, and a distinct sense of having more energy available for your authentic purposes. Many report sleeping deeply for the first time in years, as if a constant background drain has suddenly been plugged. Some experience a period of adjustment as the harvesting entities attempt to re-establish connection, unusual dreams, synchronicities, or sudden emotional fluctuations. This is normal and temporary. The text advises repeating the phrase daily for at least 40 days to permanently reset your energetic signature. After this period, most people report not only personal benefits, but a changed relationship with the collective field, the ability to engage with world events without being energetically depleted by them. Perhaps most significantly, you may notice changes in how certain people and systems respond to you. Relationships based primarily on energetic feeding rather than authentic connection may fall away. Career opportunities aligned with your true purpose may suddenly appear. The text suggests that once freed from the Loosh harvest, humans naturally begin manifesting from their divine blueprint rather than from archonic programming. When we integrate this ancient wisdom with our lived experience, a profound realization emerges. The prison was never primarily physical. The worlds that have contained human potential are constructed of belief, frequency, and unconscious agreement. The harvesting system requires our participation, our investment in the dramas it creates to generate emotional turbulence. The phrase from Thomas's Gospel works because it formally withdraws this participation at the energetic level where reality is actually constructed. This understanding transforms everything. The spiritual journey is not about ascending to some distant heaven, but about reclaiming the sovereignty that was always yours. It's not about fighting darkness, but about withdrawing your energy from systems designed to harvest it. The Archons maintain control not through superior power, but through superior deception. Once seen, their influence begins to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. The phrase itself operates as what the Gnostics called a word of power, a sequence of sounds that, when spoken with intention, restructures the subtle energy field around the speaker. It's not magic or superstition, but a precise application of the principle that consciousness shapes reality. By declaring energy sovereignty in the specific manner that Christ taught Thomas, you activate a dormant spiritual technology that has been deliberately obscured by those who profit from humanity's energetic enslavement. Now, as we approach the revelation of this phrase, understand that speaking it is not just a personal act of liberation, but a contribution to collective awakening. Each person who reclaims their energy weakens the harvesting grid for everyone. This is the deeper meaning behind Christ's teaching that the kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth, but men do not see it. The liberated reality exists alongside the prison, separated only by awareness and choice. The phrase that stops the Loosh harvest, preserved in the forbidden Gospel of Thomas, is elegantly simple yet metaphysically profound. Tonight, before sleep, when the veil between conscious and subconscious is thinnest, speak these words with clear intention. I revoke all consent for my energy to be harvested. I reclaim my sovereign power. I exist beyond the reach of all parasitic entities. My energy is my own. Feel each word as you speak it, allowing the vibration to penetrate every cell of your being. This is not a plea or a hope. It is a direct command to the field of consciousness itself. The Gnostic texts suggest that this declaration, spoken with genuine intention, creates an immediate energetic reconfiguration. The system that has been feeding on your life force suddenly finds itself unable to maintain connection. It's like unplugging from a matrix of energetic exploitation that most humans don't even realize exists. The effects can be both subtle and profound. Increased vitality, mental clarity, emotional stability, and a growing sense of purpose and authentic power. Some will dismiss this as suggestion or placebo. The archonic system has conditioned humans to reject anything that threatens its control as superstition or pseudoscience. But those who have experienced the shift know the difference between psychological suggestion and energetic liberation. The proof is in the lived experience, in the tangible sense of returning to oneself, of energy no longer leaking away to unseen harvesters. Remember that this knowledge was considered dangerous enough to exclude from official doctrine. The canonical Gospels, selected and edited at the Council of Nicaea under Emperor Constantine's political supervision, carefully omitted Christ's most radical teachings about energetic sovereignty. The Gospel of Thomas survived only because Egyptian monks risked everything to hide it from those who would destroy any challenge to the harvesting system. They understood what was at stake, not just theological correctness, but humanity's energetic freedom. Tonight, as you speak the phrase, you honor their sacrifice and join an ancient lineage of those who chose sovereignty over servitude. You become part of what the Gnostics called the living stream, the continuous flow of awakened consciousness that the archonic systems have never fully managed to contain or control. Your declaration of independence ripples through the field, strengthening all who seek liberation and weakening the harvesting grid itself. Perhaps what we once thought was light was merely a clever simulation, designed to keep us generating the emotional energies that feed unseen masters. And what we feared as darkness may have been the unknown territory of true freedom, the space beyond the harvesting system where authentic creation becomes possible. The phrase from Thomas's Gospel doesn't lead you into new belief. It liberates you from the energetic exploitation that all belief systems ultimately serve. In the end, stopping the Loosh harvest isn't about escaping this world, but about experiencing it truly for the first time, seeing it without the distorting lens of archonic manipulation. When your energy is truly your own, reality itself appears transformed, not because it has changed, but because you are finally perceiving it through sovereign eyes, through a consciousness no longer being drained and distorted by invisible parasites. The Gospel of Thomas concludes its teaching on the Loosh harvest with words that have lost none of their power across 2 millennia. Recognize what stands before your face, and what is hidden will be revealed to you. For there is nothing hidden that will not be made manifest. Tonight, as you speak the phrase that breaks the cycle of energetic parasitism, you take the first step into that manifestation, into a reality where what was always rightfully yours returns to your conscious control. What will you create with your reclaimed energy? What dreams will you manifest when your life force is no longer being siphoned away? Share a single word in the comments that represents what you intend to cultivate with your liberated power. Write sovereign to connect with others who have spoken the phrase and reclaim their energy. This isn't just communication, it's communion, a gathering of free consciousness that strengthens each participant. Your word becomes a beacon for others still finding their way to freedom, a testament that liberation from the Loosh harvest is not just possible, but happening now, one awakened soul at a time.